against COVID-19. They are also advising unvaccinated people to avoid large gatherings and mask up indoors where the vaccination status of other people are unknown. And 6, other variants are still on the way. Even though the Delta variant is currently the most prominent strain of COVID-19 currently, the Lambda variant out of South America is still emerging. Health experts urge that if people want to get back to normal, a significant portion of the population needs to be vaccinated. So get your vaccines today, mask up, and stay safe.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects all of us. I am Nome Fanga and I am joined by my amazing co-anchors, Milola Signature.
Hi, what's up?
And Uwasale. Hi, Milola. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, my darling.
Oh my goodness.
How's
it's
the day been?
both of us in the
studio. Yes. Uwa is joining us live on Zoom.
Uwa is supposed to be joining us live on Zoom, right?
Yes, yeah.
Hi, Norma.
Hi,
Lola.
Uwa. How are you doing?
How are you doing, babes?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to have
Good
you.
to hear
Good to
you,
have
not
you.
to see you.
I'm sorry, I'm in transit, so
That's
my
okay.
my audio is quite bad. So it's best to see the fine face there.
Yeah,
It's
fine.
okay. It's all right. We're
You're
glad
with
that
us.
you're with us nonetheless.
In spite of, yeah.
Yeah. So here's what we found as today's quote. I think the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash. That's from Milton Friedman. So the e-naira serves as both a medium of exchange and a store of value, offering better payment prospects in retail transactions when compared to cash payments. How would this impact our transactions in our economy? Ekundaya Ayeni is here to discuss this. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways. Welcome back. The internet is everywhere these days, being accessed on phones and tablets, tied into our cameras and on our TV screens. Wi-Fi is accessible from everywhere these days, from city buses to your neighborhood coffee shops, salons, or restaurants. The world grows smaller every day as a result. Internet Day is a celebration of this culmination of computing and communication technology and the way it has brought all our lives together. The first letters ever transmitted across the protocol internet, which consisted of two computers, were L and O. This was as far as they got before the net crashed and they had to reboot to get things in running order. We've been resetting our routers ever since, just to keep our beloved lifeline running ever since. Internet Day is a reminder to all of us that this amazing invention started with two letters, L and O, before we ever were able to log in to trillions of websites put up by billions of users. So happy International Holiday for the Internet. What do you think about the Internet Day?
I didn't know there was
International
a day
Day
set
of the
aside.
Internet.
I didn't know there was a day set aside for the internet. It's very
Well,
interesting. But actually, considering how it has completely revolutionized our lives, it is actually worth having a day for celebrating the internet. So it makes sense.
Absolutely.
It does.
Internet. I had an interesting experience with the internet today because I had some live social media shows on Instagram, and it kept going off and on and off and on. And I said, wow, today must be really special. Only for me to come into the studio and I'm hearing Happy International Internet Day. I'm like, okay.
Does that explain anything?
No wonder everything was buzzing. Ooh, what do you think about that?
So it's actually interesting, Norma. Remember when WhatsApp and Instagram went off?
I know. So many people were frozen, literally.
Yeah, you would actually know that there is no us anymore without the internet. So it is actually worth celebrating, World Internet Day. It's something that we'll forever be grateful for, that whoever invented that L and O, God bless them, because just imagine, I wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have the internet, So, I mean, the possibilities of what the internet can do is limitless. And I'm super grateful that we have the internet with us today.
Awesome. I mean, it's really interesting. So what did we find in the news today? Who will I like to start with? Let me start with Lola.
Why me? Why not Hua? That is right there. You should start with her for not being present in the studio. Well,
let me start with
very interesting. And what I have in the news is from the Punch newspaper, and it's about the Oscar 2022, where Nigerian movies fail eligibility tests, said the selection committee. I'm not surprised. I'll be shocked if we ever met the criteria, because when I watch Nigerian movies and you see at this time and age, with the way a lot of our sectors significantly improved. If you look at the music industry, you can tell that Nigerians do not have any need to listen to foreign music anymore because our guys here are delivering back to back.
Right.
But when we look at the movies, there's a lot of gap between what we where we are in terms of development and technology to what it continually churn out.
Right.
I don't know if it's for the lack of funding or finance or it's for the lack of creativity. Maybe there's a bit of mental laziness because most times there are some that you would find that are not bad, but a bunch of them really are not doing justice to that sector. But let me read quickly what the Nigerian Official Selection Committee for the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences has announced that movies submitted by the Nigerian filmmakers fail to meet eligibility criteria. The committee, which had in September called on Nigerian filmmakers to submit their films for the next edition of the award scheme, cancelled its plan towards the country's participation at a 2022 Oscar. Niger people, why? Why?
I think we
Why
still
you
have
fall in
a
my
long way
hands?
to go.
A
when it
huge
comes to-
gap. For someone like me who loves sci-fi movies, it's tough for Nigerian movies to impress me because the kind of movies they show in science fiction takes me
Cannot
to the future.
compare. Yeah.
It goes deeper, it goes further. Yes, well, you have something to say, my darling. Jump in.
So Milola, I think for me, this eligibility, right, issues has always been one of the biggest issues. I remember when we submitted, I think it was Genevieve's movie, Lionheart. And we were wondering why did they pick that movie in particular? Because there were other movies at that time that could have gotten us farther than where Lionheart. So
exactly.
I think, let us even look at the committee that are selecting the films.
There are choices that are putting us in the bad light.
Transparent? Yes. Are they transparent? Are they honest in the selection process? You're not just selecting because there's somebody that you like or something. Let the Nigerian factor not go into the selection process, because when you talk about eligibility, I'm wondering what exactly are they looking for? Because I think of late we've been having very good international
reviews,
standard
international
movies.
reviews.
So who are the people selecting this movie, and are they really screening through to see that? Because you cannot tell me that you cannot just find, a Nigerian movie that would qualify for the Oscar. So we would like to know more about the criteria. What exactly were they looking for? And we'll now check, does it mean we couldn't meet up with the selection process?
I don't think they meet up.
Well,
really, if I'm going to screen them,
Milola is already.
Are
you being biased about
No,
Nigeria?
personal review.
All right, well, let's hear your story.
All right, so mine is just, I found it very interesting, and I was laughing again because we had talked about presidential, who would be your ideal president in 2023 on Tuesday. So I saw this story and I found it interesting. I was just laughing. So the headline captures, don't campaign for tenure extension. I'll leave office in 2023, says Buhari. So the president has said that he's going to leave his office come 29th of May 2023, and that he had warned against the campaign for tenure extension, saying that he swore to serve in accordance with the Constitution, and that any group, I think there's one Maka group or something, they're campaigning for him to come back again for a third term. I said, Uncle, who is deceiving? Who is deceiving who? Like, are we not tired of like?
He's trying to be a man of integrity, don't you think?
That's laughable.
So for me, that's the word, Milola. I just chuckled. I said, "Come on, who are these people? Like, are you serious, or this is a joke or something?" We can't have, even as good as President Obasanjo was, taking the economy to a whole new level. I mean, if President Obasanjo had stayed up until third term, something significant would have happened with our economy, because he was already on that trajectory, right? So we are seeing economic failure, we are seeing insecurity rising by the minute and everything. You're talking about third term. This has to be a joke. So I just thought to mention this.
Okay. All right. I found interesting in the news today that NECO had released the 2021 examination results. Okay, so the National Examination Council on Friday announced the release of the results of the senior secondary certificate examinations conducted nationwide in July. NECO Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Dantali Wushishi disclosed this while addressing men in Mina. And then he said that out of 1,233,631 candidates who registered, 1,226,631 actually sat for the examination. So about 100 or 4,000 people didn't make it for the exams. And then he explained that 945,853 candidates obtained 5 credits and above, including English language and mathematics, while 1,094,000 candidates also obtained 5 credits and above, irrespective of English language and mathematics. Now, the interesting thing for me was in the percentages. They said when compared to 2020 SSCE internal figures were 894,101, which was like 73% of 2.2% decrease. So there was a decrease compared to 2020, which would have thought that maybe because of the COVID crisis, people adjusting to the new way of learning would have been a deterrent. However, the reduction came in 2021, right? And then my worry is basically how do we compete internationally? Do we really measure up as a nation when it comes to examinations that will move the young ones from the senior secondary or high school level up to college and university levels? We are more interested in the numbers, right? But how do we measure up globally? That's my own take on this as I was reading through. It's interesting. Well, we're hoping that things,
I think
especially
we
in the
measure,
education sector.
Sorry to cut
yeah,
you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we measure up because, I mean, if you look at globally, Nigerian students do exceptionally well.
When they have great access to facilities.
So even with the limited access that we have, right? Because of the dogged nature of how we learn, whenever we are put with people in other climes in the same room, we tend to measure up and we actually do exceptionally well. So I am not really particularly worried about whether we will be able to, our standards, would be able to measure up. We would. If not, if medical doctors are leaving Nigeria, why are they accepting them? It's because they know that, I hear that our nursing, for instance, people that study nursing in this country, they are one of the best in the world. They are very thorough. So I think in terms of measuring up, we can measure up individually. But if you're talking about as a nation, our economic standard, our educational standard compared to other nations, that's where the problem is. But on an individual basis, I think we do exceptionally well.
You're using a very smaller fraction of pupils that are exceptional to judge the rest of the numbers. I don't think we actually measure up. The quality and the standard of our curriculum is pretty obsolete. And it is something that they should be willing to review. I don't know where the challenge around reviewing and upgrading it is coming from, but you can be in developed countries all the time. They review, there's a revised edition every time. We don't have such experience with our curriculum here. So it's okay to say that, when we find ourselves thrown with foreign pupils, we excel. That's a fraction of the numbers of pupils that we have in this country. If you really look at the majority crux of students, we are falling short and we're falling behind. Pretty much, that's my entry.
I believe there's a whole lot more that can be done, especially in our education sector. All right, we'll take a break right now and we'll be right back after this.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Thanks for staying with us. The e-naira is the Central Bank of Nigeria issued digital currency that provides a unique form of money denominated in naira. E-naira serves as both a medium of exchange and a store of value, offering better payment prospects in retail transactions when compared to cash payments. E-naira has an exclusive operational structure that is both remarkable and nothing like other forms of central bank money. There are several benefits from a central bank issued digital currency in Nigeria, and this cuts across different sectors and concerns of the economy. Organizations and individuals are seeking fast, safe, and easy, cheap means of payment. E-naira was minted to meet these pressing needs. How well do you understand the e-naira? Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 0108 0818 038 4663. Ekundayo Ayeni is a serial entrepreneur who has founded a number of digital businesses. He is an alumnus of the Harvard University Executive Program in Digital Marketing, Social Media Marketing, and a Google advertising partner. He's known as the most successful B2B sales guru in Nigeria. His business model is structured in such a way that beneficiaries of his philanthropic efforts have been inspired to pay it forward. He encourages everyone to take the initiative to teach others, and he believes that new business owners should offer internships to other program graduates. Thank you for joining us, Ekundaya. It's wonderful and a privilege to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you look like the e-naira. All right, so Ekundaya, imagine that we are laymen and women right here with you. So please.
Using the e-naira wallet. So far you have a wallet, I can do direct transfers to you. So it's as simple as I use this layman example every time I have to talk about it. I go do a transaction. We've all been victim of I do something, maybe I buy something of 850 naira, I give you 1,000 naira, you give me 100 and say there is no change for 50. So we've all been the victim of that at some point as a people. Yeah. Now it's easy, I give you the exact money that you need without
fitting any part of your change.
Exactly. Right. So it's a digital currency that we can use for day-to-day transaction. Okay. Now the other layer to it is it now covers for the people who don't necessarily have a bank account, which for the financial inclusion process. So far, you have a SIM that is registered, and you follow the USSD prompting during the registration. That means that you automatically have a wallet, and then that same transaction can happen again. So I can send money to my mom in the village who doesn't have the internet and who doesn't have a bank account, and because a phone number has been picked during the registration, and she had registered SIM card, and she has all her biometric captured. Same thing you do for the BVN. Okay. And BVN only primarily covers for the financial sector. Yes. So that makes it easy. Any transaction you also do on the eNaira platform is.
So I think I'm very confused about it. So why I'm confused about it. First of all, there are, and I love Ekundayo to help me understand it, because we already have digital transactions that we do, and I leave. That's how terrible I have become with cash. I do not even touch cash anymore. Right. Right. So that's one. Then, interestingly, I was at a training today, and someone was talking about the eNaira, saying that you can actually move your money from your conventional bank to the eNaira wallet, but you cannot convert your eNaira to cash or back to your conventional account, and all of that. So I'm wondering, what exactly are they playing at? So I have different places.
Very good.
Okay. Before, I hope you took note of that. So, Milola, what are your thoughts?
It makes sense what Uwa just raised as a concern, and just to, from my own understanding of the eNaira is an electronic naira, right? That's what the E must stand for. Yeah. So it simply means trying to have people do transactions without carrying cash, which is really the same thing we do with mobile transfer. But if I understand from what he's explaining, is a measure to include people who do not have existing bank accounts.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
So that they can get to do transactions without having the delay around. Okay, then there's also the people that do PAGA.
That's the agency banking people.
Do you understand? How do you assimilate these existing platforms? How do you consolidate it so that there's no duplication of functions? In a situation where why do I need to have an e-wallet, eNaira wallet, when I already have a mobile banking transfer? Pretty much that. So it would be good if you enlighten us better.
Okay. All right, Akundayo, please.
Okay, so the interesting thing is from next week you'll be able to use it. So some of the questions would
be answered.
Exactly. And then the other side to it is the best, closest example I can give now is you have an e-passport, and that's what your passport is currently. You use an e-passport.
No, I have a physical passport.
You have a physical passport, but it's called an e-passport.
But that's
why it can be verified. That's why it can be verified anywhere in the world if it's really genuine or fake.
Okay.
So, but you have a physical copy to carry along with it. Now, you don't necessarily have to carry cash. What it means is that it makes transactions seamless. We all have wallets. You don't have all the bank charges and all of those things because every bank that hosts the platform
excludes the bank. That's one of the functions of the
technically.
It excludes the bank from transaction.
From what I know so far, technically excludes the bank, but the Apex Bank controls all of those transactions because they don't have to mint. The cost of minting the physical cash that you carry all around. Now it becomes the digital currency. So when I buy from you and I do the transfer to you, it's just a digital transfer now. Right. You'll see a reflection immediately. So it's a peer-to-peer transfer model.
How is this any different from cryptocurrency?
So cryptocurrency are all some set of blockchain that we call money, and it appreciates in value, reduces in value. All of those things come in. I can't trace
for trading.
I can also trace when the transaction happens. So I send you money now and you disappear. There's nothing you can do.
Okay.
But for the e-naira, we can trace every 1 naira. So all these cases of somebody stole my ATM card or logged into my account, moved to 100,000, you're able to trace the transaction. You will know where the money is going to. You know who owns the wallet, because at the point the person was opening the account, the person put in a BVN. So we're able to trace whose wallet was used for all these transactions. Exactly. So that makes it very easy for us to address. And then when you have issues, it's all there. You can just send email to help@enaira.com.ng, I think, yeah. So.
Sorry,
help desk,
can I come in?
Yes, I was
thrust it back into my account. That's what I heard. Help me correct.
How true is that?
A fact? How true is that? Then secondly, when you talk about internet fraud not traceable, currently it is even online now, it's not wire they call them. The fraudsters are usually even online. So is it not even easier for me to have, or is it not easier for them to have
access?
Something like an e-wallet, like a digital currency account than for the conventional account? Is it not possible for that to be hacked? Judging by the kind of technology and how far we've come with the internet today.
Okay, so statistics shows that Nigeria has the second most secure banking infrastructure in the world. And I remember back in the days when I come from the US, maybe every time I shuttle, you have these banks that cards that doesn't have chips. That was out there, but in Nigeria we already had built that technology.
Right.
So Nigeria has this very high level of security, and this is handled by the Apex Bank, and you know the kind of infrastructure or security that is behind this whole thing. So your data is not being exposed. People don't have access to your data like when it's a bank, as it were. It's one thing you say about Nigerian banks is that they build their infrastructure end to end. So it's even very difficult for intruders to hack into their system, except there is an inside work. Now, but with a digital currency that we're talking about, the e-naira thing, the whole process works from the part where you open an account with a BVN. So that means that if you log into my account and you move money to another person, so we know the person the money went to. It's very direct. It's not the time when, if it's going from bank A to bank B, where we say we need authorization from the other bank to know if the money was this and that, and you know all those processes, and then you send emails, and then 7 days, 10 days, you're still there. This one, 48 hours, the bank has promised, you'll be able to.
The bank are not involved, if I understand you correctly. So
no, not the bank. The Apex Bank had promised at some point that you can send an email. It's part of the communication that came out from them. Send an email, they would address it for you directly.
The question we were asked around if it's...
For the money thing and all of that. So I give you a quick example. So let me do transfer to you. They say they don't take transfer. That's, the stories about... Cash. They want cash. So we had to go to the person who has the POS, which is the agency banking person. I've been involved in the financial sector for a while, so I know how much the Apex Bank said you should take. But these guys were asking for 300 naira for the transaction we're doing. And then later, the guy said, I was taking more money, it's 500 naira. There was a rate the government had given to these guys. But because there's no control. To that point, I just had to do the transaction with the guy, and I'd done my purchases already. Now, for an wallet, the e-naira wallet, the speed wallet that you have, once you have that, it's peer-to-peer, so it's not going to go through too many points. So I just send you the money directly, even as a market woman. I think the last I read from the documents, you can do up to 20,000 naira.
Okay. But it says, if I put the money from my Naira account, from my GT account into my e-wallet, can I take it back?
So that's, I can't verify as we speak now. So I will have to confirm that.
Another main concern for me with, if you have a SIM card, then you can automatically have a wallet once it's registered.
Not automatically. You have to register following the USSD prompt.
Okay, so that it can be registered. If somebody steals your SIM card, your phone is stolen.
Let's hold on with that, because I know there are rails or questions coming up, but we'll take a short break. See you shortly.
all the place and it brighten. Make everybody be wonder. Waiting because all the shine. Lush hair. Long hair or short doesn't matter. Crochet or dreadlocks can be better. Only for girls we know better. Lush hair. So you want to slay? Slay with swag. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. Straight or curly. You know they tango. Lie. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair.
Beautiful people know how to make an impression, and that's why they only trust Lush Hair Extensions to bring out the shine in them. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
If you're just tuned in, we are having an amazing chat with Ekundaya on the CBN naira. Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. All right. So, Ekundaya, back to the questions. I think, Milola, you were trying to ask a question before
someone gets stolen, their phone gets stolen. That pretty much exposes their e-wallet to whoever has access to that phone. Yeah. And then they can transfer their funds into another account. Yeah, knowing how this country has not been very reliable in tracking thefts, who's going to be responsible? Is there any way you can block your accounts the moment your phone gets stolen? Because I know that a lot of this will be clearer as we begin to use the app, evidently. It's just that these are questions people want to know before they even take the trouble to say, okay, let me explore having this e-wallet.
So at some point, you're able, I said earlier, you're able to track any form of transaction that happen at any time. All the transactions are traceable. So immediately your phone is stolen, obviously you're expected to block it, your SIM card. So same thing you do across every other board. Yeah, just block the SIM card. Go to the nearest point where you can maybe get a phone to call or something, block the SIM card. And then you can, when you get your welcome back and all of that, you can continue with the wallet. Now, if that does not happen and somebody had transferred money from your account, it helps even with the policing system. We know who the money was transferred to.
Okay.
It's very easy.
So it makes it easier.
It's easier. So this time around, we're able to track directly. So if it's going from bank to bank to bank, as it used to be, it becomes a bit difficult. But with the e-naira, it's easy for you to just track at a shot.
No, you track somebody, sorry. Go ahead. You track someone who stole my money, right? Now you've identified the person. How do you get them? Because you can find that.
Police.
So, police responsibility.
It is. So I wanted to ask, before I ask Uwa to come in terms of value, how does the e-naira improve or limit the growth of our economy?
So we have a lot of unbanked people currently, which is one of the biggest problems we have in the economy, because we have these monies going around from the conductor to the alagbo that goes around.
To the market woman.
Now we want to start capturing those funds. We want to know how it goes. We want to know, okay, what volume of transactions happen at that grassroots level. Now that will help us do better planning as a nation. That will also help us project in terms of how we want to do our visibility study as a country. We are also looking at how much are we saving in terms of not just having physical notes? You know, she was talking about not going around with physical notes. So the production of these physical notes, the cost of minting is also going to be reduced. So the more we go digitalized, the better it is for us. So the less we need all those physical cash. And then all this case of, I don't know if you've observed over the years, there's been reduction in thief coming to burgle your house because they suspect there's cash in your house. Now, all those kind of things obviously had been there, and now we're even trying to eradicate it as much as possible.
Oh, but they've gone digital as well.
When they come to you, they just tell you
and ask you to make transfers.
And then you do transfer.
So you do transfers, that's one thing. But are you able to trace some of those transfers even when you go through the police route and do all of those things before? Because once you start going from one bank to the other, you know the bottleneck that comes with each bank trying to protect the interest of their customer, privacy, and all of that, and then the route you need to take. Now, but for this whole process, it's easy to trace once and for all.
How does the banks feel about this when they are completely outside of the loop of these transactions and knowing that the bulk of fund is going to be going through this medium?
So, I may not be able to react totally on behalf of the banks.
Absolutely, because you're not
I will tell you,
represent their interest.
But I noticed that every bank app now have just updated. They have the e-naira wallet on their apps, so you can check internet banking. I've received, at least from all the banks that you have accounts with, I've received emails telling me
about the e-naira
on board and all of that. And it's just because we've not gone totally live on it, and then you see the volume of, and you know, we as Nigerians, when you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, this is the way we'll go today, everybody will react first negatively because we are all suspicious of the person who is leading us at every given time. So after a while,
Nigerians?
There's always one thing or the other.
So I heard we were talking about Obasanjo's time and all of that. We were all suspicious of the guy when he was there.
Absolutely.
And then now he's gone, we're saying, oh.
He was a fantastic guy. I reckon we're probably going to say this about Bubu as well.
No,
some years from now, we probably would have a different
so you know the suspicion
even Jonathan, they praised him after he had gone.
Oh, yes, they did.
So we started the SIM card thing, for example, or when we started the BVN thing. People were skeptical. They didn't want to do it until the enforcement. And look at the volume of security tightness and the awareness that I don't want my BVN to be exposed, I don't want my stuff to be stolen. And then you see that level of security you enjoy. You go to the bank now and you're trying to withdraw above a particular volume. They will revalidate if it's truly your account. So how do we validate that? How do we have those kind of things? So those are kind of other benefits you want to start looking at.
There's a limit around how much you can transfer with the e-wallet.
That's for, although with time you'll be able to do, if you have registered BVN and all of that,
the more the security,
the more access you have to.
All right, Uwa, you wanted to ask a question before.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like every other thing in the country, right? How sustainable is this? Because you know we have issues. We have the energy, we have the ginger when we start, you know. But sustaining it, you know, how sustainable do you see this actually coming to stay? You know, and you know, a future where we truly go cashless completely, and you know, transact in this kind of transaction. And then again, I was just going to ask you again. How about transactions abroad? You know, right now, if I want to pay for some things online, I can't use some of my bank cards. It's specific cards I have to do. There are limitations. You can't do it beyond a set amount of money. So how would this e-naira help in doing transactions when you travel out of the country? Do you still need to carry your BTA or your PTA and all of that? Will this actually improve how transactions are being done for businesses?
Okay, so currently it's focused more on diaspora remittance. That's what we have currently. In terms of you want to send money home, it's easy for you to send it to people's wallets.
From outside.
But transacting outside for now, I don't know what the bank is saying, the Apex Bank is saying about it, the CBN, you know, there's a lot of conversation around that. But let's even get the remittance first. That's one thing we're even projecting at. Because Nigeria really needs a lot of those remittance to come in very easy. And you see how they're encouraging send money to Nigeria, and then you get extra for every dollar that you send in, maybe 5 naira, 4 naira, depending. I think it's 5 naira, the CBN says, for every dollar that you send into Nigeria. So somehow we're encouraging those remittance. But for that aspect of payment and all of that, those are other questions that have not been answered. So once I think they've gone through this first phase, then
they will start.
Then we can start the other phase.
Okay.
Having that conversation.
I have a question or a comment from Oize Henry, and he has this to say. Don't you think the CBN is venturing into the space of the private sector, that's the banks? We have seen the banks with innovations such as WhatsApp banking, UMT's banking. Why is the CBN not sticking to just regulation for the fact that over history, government has failed in all its businesses?
Okay, that's interesting. So Henry, is it Henry, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so there is an assumption that the government has failed in terms of regulation, and I can show you a couple of things that government has regulated that has helped us largely.
Okay.
If we go through the financial sector, see the level of regulation that is there. If we don't have that, I think there will be more fraud than what it is now as a country. We talk about every other, talk about NAFDAC and all of those people. They are all regulators. They are all checking what we're consuming, standard organization. So the thing is, they may not be able to do their work effectively, but they are doing something. That is where we must first agree. Imagine there was no non-existence of these guys, and we just feel we want the perfect system. Even in developed countries, I've stayed on different sides of the world before, and you still see the systems with the loopholes. You still, with the whole noise of Trump, a non-citizen, and all of those things, people still sneak into those countries. I was traveling on Greyhound at the time in the US, and we were stopped to check, and they had to check, people's passport to be sure people had not sneaked into the US. That was during the Trump's administration. And you're asking yourself, why? In this country, you still have those kind of things. You still have checks. You've seen custom try to do their own thing too. So for this financial thing, the government is also going to regulate, and I believe it's sustainable, because on the long run, same way we started with things like the NIMC just to verify your phone numbers and all of that. Although it may not have covered everything we're looking at, but we're going somewhere, heading somewhere. We're able to say, okay, we started something good. Let's now scale it. So I will still go back to the BVN, for example, which is still very related to what the Apex Bank introduced. That's helped us check. They can easily block bank accounts. They can easily say, look, this transaction looks fraudulent. This is not. We can't. So back in the days, I'm just taking the BVN for example. Back in the days, all you need is a check. You verify the check is genuine. Then you check for the signature if they were genuine and all of that.
And then you authorize it.
And then you authorize. But now, making it a layer ahead, now you look at the BVN, you check the pictures, you check all the other forms of security layers, the thumbprint and all of that helps us build another layer. So same thing, you're looking at the e-Naira, you have your biometrics captured at one point or the other before you get on e-Naira, whether through the BVN or through your SIM card. So you can't just get on it because your biometric has been captured. So we're able to look at what exactly are we heading at. We want a safer environment, we want better remittance, we want better transactions, we want to be able to trace transactions. Why would you want to hide your transactions? That's the first question. Because sometimes...
Because I choose to.
Because you choose to.
So
it's good.
It's not because I'm doing anything fraudulent. I just choose not to let people know what I'm doing.
But when the thing goes wrong, you run to the police.
If he had not read out his resume, I would have thought he's with the government. Because I mean, a lot of we speaking on behalf of CBN. I would have thought we had a CBN governor
it's just that
sitting right in our midst.
I have a bias for this thing. I love the concept. At some point, I just feel we should make life easy. For people, because I deal with this development space and all of that every time, and I see people. It's very difficult for us to even bridge the gap to the women in the village. I remember when I went to my village next, and I saw people, they sat down somewhere. There's just this small microfinance, and everybody's there, about 80, 90 people at a shop. Things that you can easily do with the phone. Let's make life easy even for the unbanked people.
Right.
A very last question before we wrap, because I know we're running out of time.
Yes, we're wrapping up.
How do you think this would affect the existing POS sector, those agencies? Because it looks like it would eradicate that agency.
For now, it's not going to take them out because awareness is still going to go heavy. I expect that the banks are already, I've seen one or two, my friends that work in the bank who are going to start classes over this weekend till Monday
to
enlighten the people. And then we need to do a lot of awareness down to the grassroots and make sure every language, integrated communication process to make it work across board. But we're not going to knock them out for now because there are some places where you still need cash.
All right.
Yeah, so it's very important.
Okay. All right, let me have your final thoughts. Uwa? Uwa, are you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you, Norma. Okay. I think, but you have a comment. I think it's important that we address that first.
Okay, let me address that comment. It says, thanks for this effort to enlighten the public. I live in a rural area. There is need for better explanation on how someone in Lagos will transact with the aged parent.
The hashtag, something that you use on your
So they're
phone.
going to be prompts.
So once you send it, so far your parents already have their own wallet on, they will get the money. It's very straightforward.
All right, so Uwa, do you have final
So
thoughts?
I was just going to ask, so when you send the money to those parents, is it possible for the parents to go to those agents like the Paga that Milola had mentioned earlier to now, if they really need cash, would they be able to change the e-wallet to a cash transaction?
Right. So that is where that layer, I don't have full understanding of that layer yet, but I think that should happen.
Very important.
It should be.
So because that's going to happen.
Training, so to speak. I'm sure
so I think that it is when it's in the usage that the understanding will come. That's how I think I'm
I can make available videos and materials for you to check, approved by the Apex Bank.
That would be awesome. And because it's important that people are also enlightened. The everyday person needs to be able to have access to information that makes it seamless to transact in the e-naira.
Exactly.
Milola, any thoughts as we wrap up?
I felt, when I saw it, I thought it was a good idea and is a positive step towards moving the economy forward. There's nothing wrong with making transactions seamless and easier for people, particularly eliminating the charges. There's a lot of that. People go withdraw money and then you have to pay 500 naira to get 50,000 naira. It's ridiculous. Not that it's a lot of money, but if you want to save, you can save your money. Why do you want to spend it? So I think it's a good effort, but there's a need for a lot of sensitization, information, awareness. Our people do not trust our government, and it is evident why we don't. We're always very suspicious of any new government intervention. How does this serve me? Or is this something that enriches a smaller number of the people? But with usage, I'm sure it will be clearer and the benefit will be more evident. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. Very much, yeah.
Ekunda, do you have one more thought? Just 1 minute, very quickly.
For everyone watching.
So I would just say, embrace what the government has done from Monday and from next week. Let's start using
Coming from you.
Yes. Let's see where we're going to. Because if we don't welcome this, how do we scale to the next week? Somehow we all welcome Facebook. We all welcome different kind of things. At some point, ATMs were seen as bad.
Right.
And now we all use the ATMs. And all. So let's just welcome. It's development too. Other countries to also have things like this. Yeah, the Caribbean countries have adopted.
I heard Nigeria is the first country in Africa to adopt the EU.
Some Caribbean countries are already doing it. So what are we waiting for?
We're a developing country, but I guess we'll get there.
A lot of sensitization needs to go into it. I'm wondering what the role of the media in making sure that people fully understand the concept behind the e-naira and how it can be of benefit to them. I think it's an area.
There'll be a couple of roadshow, town hall meetings from the CBN, from my own belief, and there'll be a lot of awareness. So don't worry, just watch out. You'll see them all around town soon.
Thank you so much.
And that's why we are here as well. That's why we're talking about it now.
Exactly. And we'll keep talking about it until people understand, because with a lot of ignorance. That's why Nigerians are really very suspicious of anything that the government wants to introduce.
So it's normal for the black person or a Nigerian, typically, let me just say Nigerian, that you bring something new, they will check in many ways. I have experienced it in different ways. I remember I started a mailing platform back in the days, and I went to a client and I was showing the guy and said, oh, you're a scam, you're a Yahoo and all of that. It's difficult. The guy chased me out of his office. I literally, like, was screaming on me. So you'll get all kind of stuff like that. But let's look at it. It's a welcome development on my own part.
Okay. I'm really interested in how it will help, especially the woman in the markets, on the streets, the Uber driver.
Somehow they've been adjusting and surviving. They just need to get better at adjusting and surviving. I guess that's pretty much what that
Our adoption rate, it's not so high when it comes to digital products as a country, but I believe this would, because very soon maybe you have to be paying your taxes using that and all of that. So your remittance to governments, and so you just have to use it at some point.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for enlightening us. At least this is the first step. I'm sure further, if we have more questions, we'll probably have to bring you back on the show. But thank you so much for doing justice to our topic on the e-naira today. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, we are planning a giveaway just to say thank you for watching and believing in the Ways brand, also following our conversation. So do well to follow us on Instagram now at PlusTvAfrica. Like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. I think the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash. That's from Milton Friedman. See you on Monday at 8 p.m. as we bring yet another great conversation to your screen. It's bye for now.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.